Hello everyone, welcome back to the video tutorial class. Hope everybody is staying safe at home. With that hope, we are going to start our today's class. This video will give you the detailed explanation of the prose which is given in 10th standard English book in samacheer syllabus. This prose is given in unit 1. The name of the prose is His First Flight, written by Liam O'Flaherty. Let us see the lesson is about what. So let us see about the author of the prose His First Flight. Here is the image of Liam O'Flaherty, who has written His First Flight. Liam O'Flaherty was an Irish novelist and short story writer and a major figure in the Irish literary renaissance. He was basically born in Ireland and he has written many novels and short stories. He was considered as a major figure, which means very important person in the Irish literary renaissance. Renaissance is nothing but it is the revival or the development of literature in Irish language. Okay, so he worked very hard for the improvement or the development of Irish literature. Okay, he was a founding member of the Communist Party of Ireland. He was the person who founded Communist Party in Ireland especially. A native Irish speaker from the Gaeltacht, O'Flaherty wrote almost exclusively in English except for a small number of short stories in the Irish language. So being an Irish novelist, he has written many novels and stories, especially in English. Only a few short stories he has written in Irish language. Gaeltacht is nothing but it's a region in Ireland where only the Irish language is spoken among people. So being a person from Ireland, he has written many novels only in English. Only a few he has written in Irish language. Okay. He spent most of his time in traveling and lived comfortably and quietly outside the spotlight. So he spent most of his time in traveling and lived in a place where there is a crowd, where there is no crowd. Okay, so in the மக்கள் கூட்டம் இல்லாத அந்த மாதிரி இடத்துல தான் most of his time he spent அப்படின்னு சொல்லி சொல்றாங்க. Okay, and the theme of the lesson: every first step in life needs courage and self-confidence. So this lesson is about a young seagull who's trying to make its first flight, who's at the stage of making its first flight. So we are going to see how what are the struggles he goes through, and why is not stepping forward to make its first flight. Why is he covered eyes? All these things we are going to see in this lesson. So the theme of the lesson is every first step in life. Every first step in our life needs courage and self-confidence. So with that determination, courage and self-confidence, if we begin anything, definitely our step will lead us to success. That is what the theme of this lesson. Let's see what happens in the story. So I'd like to start this lesson with a motivational proverb in English, which is a famous one actually. The journey of 1,000 miles starts with a single step. That is the proverb, which is actually a motivational proverb, and it tells that, it explains us that every successful happenings in our life would have started with small and simple step. Do you accept it? Okay, so this piece of prose teaches us how one should be courageous when we start keeping each and every step of our life. So this story, His First Flight, is about a young seagull who's afraid of making its first flight, and we also learn that how the young seagull's parents are motivating him to make its first flight. And so let us see how does the young seagull overcomes his fear of flying. So the name of the lesson is His First Flight, the young seagull's first flight. How does it make its first flight? In what way the parents motivated him to make its first flight. That's what we are going to see in this story. The young seagull was alone on his sledge. His two brothers and sister had already flown away the day before. He had been afraid to fly with them. Somehow, when he had taken a little run forward to the brink of the ledge and attempted to flap his wings, he became afraid. The great expanse of sea stretched down beneath, and it was such a long way down, miles down. He felt certain that his wings would never support him, so he bent his head and ran away back to the little hole under the ledge where he slept at night. So as I already told you that this young seagull was at the stage of making its first flight. Okay, so he was a newborn in the family. His two brothers and sisters who born along with him now, they learned how to fly, and they started flying along with his parents in search of food on the sea. Okay, so the seagull's parents wanted to teach him to fly. The young seagull's parents wanted to teach him to fly, so they left him alone on his ledge. Okay, அவங்கள அந்த யங் சீகளை தனியா விட்டுட்டு அவங்க பேரண்ட்ஸ் போயிடுறாங்க. பிரதர்ஸ் அண்ட் சிஸ்டர், both his brothers and sisters, ரெண்டு பேரும், they learned how to fly and they flown away the day before. Okay, and he had been afraid to fly with them. He got scared to make his first flight, so he was afraid to fly. And somehow when he had taken a little run forward to the brink of the ledge is the place where the birds are used to live. Actually, here is the image of ledge. Ledge is nothing but a narrow horizontal shelf projecting from a wall or a cliff. Actually ஒரு vertical rockல horizontally ஒரு shelf மாதிரி ஒரு rock வந்து வெளியில project ஆயிருக்கும். That is called ledge, and the birds are used to live there in the ledges and the cliff. Okay, so here is the image of ledge. So when he managed and tried to fly for the first time, no, he ran forward to the brink. Brink is nothing but the extreme edge of something. Okay, here is the meaning: the extreme edge of land before a steep slope or a body or water. Okay, so அந்த ஒரு லேண்டுக்கு முன்னாடியோ ஒரு வாட்டருக்கு முன்னாடியோ எக்ஸ்ட்ரீமா இருக்கிற ஒரு edge of something. Okay, ஒரு முனை. Okay, so he ran forward to the brink of the ledge and attempted to flap his wings. He tried actually to flap his wings, and suddenly he became afraid and he did not try again. Okay, and the great expanse of sea stretched down beneath. Expanse is nothing but a wide continuous area of something. Okay, ஒரு பரந்த ஒரு இடம், அதுதான் எக்ஸ்பான்ஸ்னு சொல்லுவாங்க. ஸோ ஒரு பரந்து விரிஞ்சிருக்கு அந்த அந்த ராக் கீழே. And it was such a long way down. The distance between the ledge and the water level is it's very long distance, actually, miles, நிறைய miles இருக்கும் அது. He felt certain that his wings would never support him. He thought that if he tries to fly, definitely his wings will not support and he will fall, he thought, so that he did not try to fly. So he bent his head and ran away back to the little hole under the ledge where he slept at night. So he did not try again. He bent his head down and he went away from the place and he went to the hole where he used to sleep during the night time. Okay, so இதுதான் நடக்குது. தனியா விட்டுட்டு போயிடுறாங்க அவங்க பேரண்ட்ஸ். அவங்க அது யங் சீகல் கூட பிறந்த அவனோட பிரதர்ஸ் அண்ட் சிஸ்டர்ஸ் எல்லாம் பறக்க கத்துக்கிட்டு அந்த இடத்துல இருந்து போயிடுறாங்க. பட் நம்ம யங் சீகல் என்ன நினைக்குதுன்னா, அதனோட விங்ஸ் அதுக்கு சப்போர்ட் பண்ணாது பறக்கிறதுக்கு. ஸோ பயந்து போயிட்டு கண்டிப்பா ட்ரை பண்ணா கீழே விழுந்துரும்னு சொல்லி பயந்துட்டு he did not make any try again. Okay, expanse means a wide continuous area of something. ஒரு பரந்து விரிஞ்ச ஒரு இடம், அதுதான் expanse-னு சொல்லுவோம். Even when each of his brothers and his little sister, whose wings were far shorter than his own, ran to the brink, flapped their wings and flew away, he failed to muster up courage to take up the plunge which appeared to him so desperate. His father and mother had come around, calling to him shrilly, scolding him, threatening to let him starve on his ledge unless he flew away. But for the life of him, he could not move. Even the brothers, the young seagull's little brothers and sister, though they had shorter wings than the young seagull's wings, no, they learned to fly and they started flying from the place. I told you in the previous slide itself, right? So though they had shorter wings than the young seagull's wings, They learnt how to fly, and they ran from the brink, and they flapped their wings and ran away and flew away. He failed to muster up courage to take the plunge. Actually, he did not gather courage to take the dive. Plunge means dive. Muster up na gather nartham. So he failed to gather that much of courage to take the first flight. Okay, to take the dive actually, which appeared to him so desperate. He is hopeless there. Okay, so பெருசா நம்பிக்கை கிடையாது அதுக்கு, நம்மளால பண்ண முடியும் இது அப்படிங்கிற அந்த நம்பிக்கை கிடையாது. So he did not gather any courage to make his first flight. His father and mother had come around calling to him shrilly, scolding him. So the parents know, they started scolding him. Okay, screaming, and shrilly means with a high pitched and piercing voice or sound. They started screaming and scolding him, and they also threatened him that they will not give him any food unless he fly away from the ledge. They told him that kandipa inga irundhu nee parakalana, we will not give you any food, you will have to starve in the ledge without having any food. They threatened him like this, but for the life of him he could not move. But he got a great fear caught him, so he could not move. He thought that if he fly, he will definitely lose his life. So to save himself, he did not make any move. That was 24 hours ago. Since then, nobody had come near him. The day before, all day long, he had watched his parents flying about with his brothers and sisters, perfecting them in the art of flight, teaching them how to skim the waves and how to dive for fish. He had, in fact, seen his older brother catch his first herring and devour it, standing on a rock, while his parents circled around, raising a proud cackle. And all the morning, the whole family had walked about on the big plateau midway down the opposite cliff, laughing at his covered eyes. So that was 24 hours ago. They threatened him, they scolded him, they screamed and scolded him to make its first flight, right? It was actually 24 hours ago. This happened actually 24 hours ago, which means ஒரு நாள் கடந்து வந்துருச்சு. Okay, it is happening the next morning. Since then, nobody had come near him. Nobody came near him and asked him whether he wanted any food or whether he felt hungry. Nothing. They did not come near him and ask anything about him. The day before, all day long, he had watched his parents flying about with his brothers and sisters. So the whole day he is just being in his nest. He is just looking at his parents, that they are all flying together. Okay, and they are perfecting his sisters and brothers in the art of flight, how to fly in different ways, and they were also teaching them how to skim. How to skim means go along with the waves, how to swim along with the waves, and the waves கூடவே எப்படி மிதந்து போகணும் அப்படிங்கறத சொல்லி கொடுக்கிறது, அதுதான் skim actually. Okay, so skim the waves and how to dive for fish, how to catch fish. They were teaching all these things. The parents were teaching all these things to the young seagull's brothers and sisters for the whole day, and he is just being in his nest and looking at his parents teaching all these things to the brothers and sisters. He had in fact seen his older brother catch his first herring and devour it. Being here, he saw everything what is happening there in the cliff in front of him. Okay, so he had seen his older brother, the young seagull older brother. He caught his first herring. Herring is a kind of fish. Okay, a soft fine sea fish which swims in a group in sea. Okay, so his older brother caught his first herring and devoured it. Devour means eat quickly. Okay, in hunger especially, பசியில் அப்படியே வேகமா சாப்பிடுறது. Standing on a rock, he was standing on a rock and eating his first catch, herring, while his parents circled around, raising a proud cackle. So they are all appreciating, his mother and father is appreciating. They both are appreciating him for catching his first food. Okay, and all the morning the whole family had walked about on the big plateau midway down the opposite cliff. The whole family is standing in front of the cliff, where the young seagull stayed there, right? And the cliff la opposite la or plateau irukku, and the plateau la they are all standing and looking at the young seagull and expecting him to fly, okay, laughing at his covered eyes. They are all laughing. Hey, see here, we all have made our first flight and we are catching even food, we are started even catching food now அப்படின்னு சொல்லிட்டு உன்னோட அதனோட கோழத்தனத்தை நினைச்சு they are all laughing at him, okay. Flapped means move its wings up and down when flying. Muster, gather, okay, muster up courage means gather courage. He failed to gather courage. Courage means, you know, dharyam. Plunge, jump or dive. Shrilly, with a high pitched and piercing voice or sound. It's a kind of call, okay, or கூப்பிடுற சத்தம். Herring, a soft fine sea fish. Devour, eat quickly in hunger especially. Cackle, laugh in a loud harsh way. Okay, cackle na சத்தம் போட்டு ஒரு மாதிரி சிரிக்கிறது. That is actually a bird's sound. Okay, கொக்கரிக்கிறதுன்னு சொல்லி தமிழ்ல சொல்லுவோம். Covered eyes, lack of bravery, கோழைன்னு சொல்லி சொல்லுவோம். The sun was ascending the sky, blazing warmly on his ledge that faced the south. He felt that heat because he had not eaten since the previous nightfall. Then he had found a dried piece of mackerel's tail at the far end of his ledge. Now there was not a single scrap of food left. He had searched every inch, rooting among the rough, dirt-caked straw nest where he and his brothers and sister had been hatched. He even gnawed at the dried piece of eggshell. It was like eating a part of himself. So the whole day the young seagull was left without food. They stayed there, the parents and the brothers and sister, they stayed there itself in the plateau for the whole day. So the young seagull is left without any food. They wanted him to fly, so that they left him without any food. Okay, so the next day morning, the sun was rising in the sky and it was blazing warmly. Blazing is nothing but to shine brightly. The sun was shining brightly on his ledge because it was facing the south side. Okay, the ledge was facing the south side. So the rays of the sun falls on the ledge of the young seagull. He felt the heat because he had not eaten since the previous nightfall. So he is left without food for the whole day, right? So he could not tolerate the heat of the sun. Okay, and he had found a dried piece of mackerel's tail at the far end of his ledge. When he searched for some food, he could find only the dried piece of mackerel's tail. Mackerel is nothing but it's a kind of fish. Okay, so அது ஒரு வகையான மீன். அதனோட ஒரு dried piece of tail தான் கிடைக்குது அதுக்கு சாப்பிடுறதுக்கு. Now there was not a single scrap of food left. Not even a piece of food he could find in the ledge. He had searched every inch, rooting among the rough, dirt-caked straw nest where he and his brothers and sister had been hatched. Hatching is nothing but the process of a bird coming out of the eggshell. Okay, so அந்த குஞ்சு பொரிக்கிறதுன்னு சொல்லுவோம் இல்லையா, அதுதான் முட்டையில இருந்து கோழி குஞ்சு வெளியில வரும்ல, அந்த process தான் வந்து hatchingன்னு சொல்லுவாங்க. He had searched every inch of his nest, straw, dirt caked, dirty filled straw nest actually. So he had searched every inch of his nest for the food, but he could not find even a dried piece of food to eat. Okay, he even gnawed at the dried piece of eggshell from which he came out, and the eggshell kuda eduthu gnawed means to bite or to chew. Okay, மெல்றது, கடிக்கிறது. ஸோ அந்த ட்ரைடு பீசஸ் அது எதுல இருந்து வெளியில வந்துச்சோ அந்த முட்டையோட ஓட கூட எடுத்து சாப்பிட்டு பார்த்துருச்சு. பட் இட் வாஸ் லைக் ஈட்டிங் அ பார்ட் ஆஃப் ஹிம்செல்ஃப். அது அதையே சாப்பிட்ற மாதிரி ஒரு ஃபீலிங் வந்து he got when he ate that dried pieces of eggshell. He then trotted back and forth from one end of the ledge to the other, his grey long legs stepping daintily, trying to find some means of reaching his parents without having to fly. So he then trotted back and forth. Trotted is nothing but to run at a moderate pace with short steps. Kutti kuttiya steps vachi, it's not like walking but it's like a jogging madri. Okay, or vegama nadakkuradhu. Okay, so it is in hunger. Okay, it made it actually in hunger. பசியில என்ன பண்றதுன்னு தெரியாம முன்னாடியும் பின்னாடியும் அந்த லெட்ஜ்ல everywhere he is running. Okay, His grey legs stepping daintily. He did not have enough strength to walk steadily actually. Okay, so his steps are like without steadiness because he is left without food for the whole day and there's no energy. Being a young one, he could not have energy to walk actually without food. Trying to find some means of reaching his parents without having to fly. So he's just finding some ways. He doesn't want to fly, but he is just finding some ways to reach his parents without flying. Okay, but on each side of him, both side of him, the ledge ended in a sheer fall of precipice. ரெண்டு சைட்லயும் பாத்தீங்கன்னா அதனோட லெட்ஜோட ரெண்டு சைட்லயும் பாத்தீங்கன்னா நான் ஏற்கனவே சொன்ன உங்களுக்கு செங்குத்தான ஒரு ராக்ல ஹரிசாண்டலா ஒரு ஷெல்ஃப் மாதிரி ஒரு பிளேஸ்ல தான் அவங்க இருந்துட்டு இருக்காங்க இல்லையா. சோ அதை தாண்டி போனா ரெண்டு சைட்லயும் வெர்டிகல் ராக் தான் இருக்கும். ஓகே, and the sea is beneath the ledge. And between him and his parents there was a deep wide crack. So அதனோட பேரண்ட்ஸ்க்கு அதுக்கு நடுவுல என்ன இருக்குன்னா wide crack, ஒரு பெரிய ஸ்பேஸ் இருக்கு which he cannot reach without flying. Okay, without flying. Surely he could reach them without flying if he could only move northwards along the cliff face. ஆனா கண்டிப்பா இது போகலாம். நார்த்வார்ட்ஸ்ல கொஞ்சம் மூவ் பண்ணி அந்த பக்கம் போனா அந்த கிளிஃப் ஃபேஸ்ல இருந்து கொஞ்சம் ஒரு ஜம்போ ஒரு டைவோ பண்ணா he could reach actually. But then on what he could walk? எது மேல நடந்து போகும்? There was no ledge and he was not a fly. And அதனால பறக்கவும் முடியல. அங்க லெட்ஜும் கிடையாது. How could it reach there? The precipice was sheer, so deep. அப்படியே பயங்கரமா செங்குத்தா இருக்கு. Okay, and the top of it was perhaps farther away than the sea beneath him. The precipice, the rock பாத்தீங்கன்னா so vertical. Okay, அப்படி ஸ்ட்ரைட்டா இருக்கு. எதுவுமே அப்படி இப்படி எதுவுமே place walk பண்ற மாதிரி கிடையாது. The so sheer and the top of it was perhaps farther away. Okay, so when the distance between the ledge and the top of the rock so far. Okay, ரொம்ப far distanceல இருக்கு. சீக்கும் அந்த லெட்ஜுக்கு இருக்கிற டிஸ்டன்ஸை விட அந்த ராக்கோட டாப்க்கும் லெட்ஜுக்கு இருக்கிற டிஸ்டன்ஸ் தான் ரொம்ப ஜாஸ்தியா தெரியும். ஓகே, scrap is peace, nod is chipped, trotted to run at a moderate pace with short steps, precipice a very steep side of a cliff or a mountain. Routing is searching. Let us meet in the next video.